Welcome to another episode of Mrs. Danielle DeVita. I am coming to you with a podcast style today because this is for women who want me to expand on the vetting. I had a video that talked about vetting during different months, and of course, it was very reduced. So I could not say so much because I know sometimes people have a short um, attention span. So I did not want to do too much, but this is to elaborate on some things. Also, I did a video on the Philip Scott show, and it talked about dating potential, and it had things about submission, giving respect. So you can see all the things that I encompass. Now, this video is going to be for traditional women of all races and things like that. Because I know typically people that watch my content are going to be other Black women. But this, I think, is good for all women who seek to be traditional. The reason why I'm not speaking to the modern woman in this instance is because most modern women live off of the live in the moment type thing. They live in um, the moment where they're free from consequences while they're doing whatever their heart desires, whatever empowers them and make them feel good. But when the consequences hit, then they are all on social media upset with how the cards are being dealt. But they didn't play the hand correctly. They didn't cut with their spades. They did not use their aces. They kept playing the low numbers. And then now they want to play the card, right? And in some cases, use the, Black men this card, Black men that, or this man, that man. Um, or I am so sick of, if it's a white woman, oh, the white man this, and they're taking away my liberation, and because there are women who are non-Black that are talking like this. Basically, it's some level of high level feminist talk to the point that they hate men. Now, this video is going to be for those who want a traditional relationship. They believe in, unity and family, and they believe in the patriarchal type society, right? So here we go. I did a blog on my mentor.life/Danielle DeVita. I have some blogs, and one of them was talking about relationships. Dating, talking like at conversations when you're on a date, things to ask for. And that was usually, I think, the first or the second date. What to ask, what to look for, to see if you may be compatible with this person. And in that, it was more conversational style things. And that would be something like, oh, so where do you work? Oh, great. Is this something that you've always wanted to do? Oh, okay. No, it's not. Oh, so what's your passion? So you see how you ask a basic question and then you move into, oh, what are your passions? Oh, okay. So what are you doing with that? Oh, and oh, you just moved here. Oh, where did you come from? So then you get an idea. Oh, you're from the city. Oh, you're from a small town. Now you're moving to the city. You kind of get an idea about their mindset. Now, when you're on date number 4 or something, I would say then you can have more direct questions. And this is part of the vetting, because a lot of the other vetting is once you realize this person may be compatible, you guys kind of have the same views on some stuff, then you move on into is our personalities and our relationships and the things, the deal breakers and standards, which are the things I talked about in my vetting video. But here's some more foundational things that you can ask before even going any further. So if you're on date number 4, one of the questions, and you can play games, like they have like card games where you ask each other questions about each other, and then you get an idea about their personality and what they want in a relationship. So these are questions that lay down the foundation. So you get a basic understanding of what this person expects out of a relationship and what you expect out of a relationship and if it's going to work out. So I did a video on dating potential, and this is a good way to see if this person even has the potential that you're looking for. Because if you're feeling like you have to completely do a Build-A-Bear, change the guy altogether, then this is not the guy you want. You want a guy who you like him how he is. So this means you are already sitting across from this person. on maybe date number 4, you're physically attracted to him. This is not for someone you're not physically attracted to, because then you're going to friend zone him or string him along or something like that. So if you are attracted to this person and you find this person not irritating on a date, right? And this is date number 4, maybe. You're going to ask a more direct question like, so what kind of guy would you say you are in relationships? Are you like traditional? What are your views? Are you more like the new age or modern in a way? You can flip this if you're a guy and do the same with a girl, but I probably wouldn't use the term modern because there's so much content about the modern woman as in a bad thing. So you could use different words to be like, so what is your ideal type relationship? What does that relationship look like? What kind of guy is it you're looking for? And same thing if you're a woman, if you don't want to say that, but you can say, are you like traditional? What are your views on a relationship? Like, what roles do you feel that the woman has and the man has? You may get someone who's a mix. Like, I know some men are in some ways traditional and in some ways not. For example, my husband is traditional as far as the whole, leadership and things like that. But he's not like, no, I don't want my woman to work. He's not like that. He may be like, yeah, work if you want, do whatever, but there are going to be some things where people are more traditional on. Especially men who a lot of times high earners may be traditional in some ways. Like they feel like they should be the provider and they want you to handle, especially if they like children and want a family, they may want you tend to the family. And there's some that want a little bit of both. So you have to understand the guy that says, oh yeah, I consider, like, I would love my wife to have children and things like that. If he's that kind of guy and you don't want children or you don't want this, a lot of times women say they don't want children, but you will want them later. So I would say you look into that, evaluate that based on what he said. Is this what I could see myself marrying? This type of dynamic, this relationship where he assumes that I'm playing this role and he's playing this role. And then the next question would be, so what is you think is most important? Quality time or just or like money? Because some men believe that if they are the provider, they don't need to provide quality time. And then you have some men that believe it requires both. You want to know that, because the last thing you want is a guy who says, well, I give you a roof over your head, I give you money. What else can you ask for? When a lot of women want quality time. They want them both. Now, some women who just want your money, then yeah, that's all they want. They want literally just a wallet. But a woman who wants the man wants quality time. That's something you should look for. When a guy is talking like that and you want quality time, look into that. Also, when you do go on dates, try to do a date where you're not actually going out, where you're playing a game somewhere. And one of them could be the love languages, because this will give you an idea of the type of relationship he wants, both in conflict and in interaction. So in any type of interaction and how he deals with conflict. What that means is, like, for example, my husband is words of affirmation, which means in conflict, I definitely don't need to be trying to curse him out. Not at all. I'm saying you shouldn't curse out your man at all. But I'm saying for someone who words of affirmation, you definitely have to be mindful of the words you use and how you say things and what you say. So encouragement, affirmations are going to be something important to them. So for them, it could be a deal breaker depending on what you say, how you say it. Threatening to leave a relationship, ultimatums, all those things could be a definite deal breaker because words of affirmation is so important to them. If you do something to affect that, then it can hurt the relationship. Physical touch. Someone who's big on physical touch, you not giving, you hitting, pushing, you not giving them sets is going to be a huge thing. And I'm not advocating sets before marriage. People do it. So it is what it is. But especially if you're married, that because most people were their love language may change over time, but some of them may not. So a person who's big on sets, that's going to be something that you would need to discuss if they, especially if they ask, because if you're someone who's planning on waiting and he's not, at least that would be a discussion if it comes up. Like if he asks, so what are your thoughts about sets? Like if he asked and you would mention it, but I wouldn't be going around, I'm gonna be a virgin or I am a virgin. Um, until usually those situations going to come up because you're going to get close enough to kiss and then it tries to turn into something else, and then you can say, hold up, I'm not ready. And I think if the guy really likes you, he would respect that. I know, when I was dating, um I didn't want to move too fast, and because we've already went on dates, because he already cared about me, he respected that. And that if the guy doesn't respect that, then you can say, okay, you know, I get it now. Now you know this person was after you just for that. Also you can ask the question, what are your goals? And when where do you see yourself in the 5 years? If you realize this person has no real goals, they remain stagnant, and you dive a little bit more deeper, then if you realize they're content and they will be content where they are for a long time, don't be with that person. Don't try to push them if they're not going to push themselves. Be with someone who you want to be with, that that, like, for example, I'm a person that I like to strive for more. So if you're talking to this person and they have all these goals and you see they're working towards it, then that would be the person you may want to be with, not someone who you're trying to mold into something like that. Another thing is asking, I think I already mentioned this, asking, do they see themselves ever being married, or having children? That way you know if they want children, if they want marriage, instead of wasting your time for a long time realizing they didn't even want a family. Another thing to consider is asking, um, I think I said about being traditional, but you can ask them how they completely feel about gender roles. They may have an idea of what you should and what they think you should and shouldn't do. And that's important. Also, I think it's also important to ask about how they feel about um, moving. Like if they're a person who wants to, like if you may want to move out the city or out the state, ask if they're a big traveler, because you want to know, are they a homebody or are they someone who likes to go places and do things? Ask about their faith. If you are a Christian, you would want to know if this person is a Christian or not. What do they believe in? So many men I do hear say something about, you do not want a woman who puts Jesus before you. Mm, Actually, I think they're looking at it in a different way, but let me dive a little bit into it. So listen up. The women that these men are talking about are women who are just religious. They do something over and over and it becomes religion, it's tradition, but it's not based on their actions. A person who truly believes in their faith, and I would say Christianity because I'm Christian, I don't know what other faiths do, but a person who is Christian, they're going to do, like, how the Bible tells them to love. They're going to love their man the same way. So that means she's not going to be putting him in a position where he feels unhappy, because as I mentioned about the Proverbs 31 woman, she does him no harm, she does only good to him, which means she's respectful, she's loving, she's pleasing him. And that means a woman who is after God's own heart is going to be that same woman that captures a man's heart, if she's doing it in the Christian way, not just some religious going to church doing this. Because there's women that go to church so much, but they're the modern woman. They go to church all the time, but the minute you talk about submission and respect, they have an attitude. So religion and actually practicing Christianity are two different things. And that's where every religion, some people aren't really practicing it, but they'll say, oh, I'm Muslim or I'm this and I'm that. And they're not really practicing that faith. So This is all. This is all the things that you would want to discuss. Again, marriage, children, their ambition, their passions, where do they see themselves, the type of relationships they want, like their dynamics, and then deal breakers. What are the things that are deal breakers for you? What are your standards? What are your preferences? Because preferences do matter. I talk about standards a lot. A lot of people are picking people and not picking people based on preferences, but you should do it based on standards. But preferences could be something about what you want the person to look like, dress that's more appealing to you, because that is important. People like people based on how they look, their visual aesthetics. It's clear that's how people stay married, by their how they feel about you visually. So those preferences are something that will matter, especially if you plan on having a relationship to the point that you're going to marry this person. So take a look into these things. Go to mymentor.life/Danielle DeVita and read up on some of the blogs that I have as well. Go to the Philip Scott Show. I have some content, more detail about relationships leading up to marriage, and content here on this and my podcast. And my podcast is Feminine Energy with Danielle DeVita on all major platforms. Take care.